What up, you guys going? This is Bharti. Welcome back to another video on React.js. In this fresh video on React.js, we're going to be discussing about what are fragments and how useful are they in React.js. Let's get this thing started. A lot more is coming up. So to begin with, what are fragments? A common pattern with respect to in React.js is that when you have a render method, you also have our default return method here. To make our life so much easier, I've created the template for us right here. So return as well. So I'm going to have two simple class level components here, and the return as it is going to be requiring a simple div or something to be passed as a return, for example. So return is actually going to expect a simple node, one single node to be coming out of it. For example, another div here actually is going to make sure that this thing is working fine, right? So I'm going to create another div here, and both of these things are actually now staying quiet without throwing up any errors. So with respect to divs, what if I have a simple table inside this? So the table is going to be like this, and the table is also going to have a lot of the list of rows, for example, right? So table row, and I'm just going to create on the tr here. Now, what if I want to actually have a list of table data, and the table data is going to be coming out from the fragment? What exactly am I talking about? Let me replace the t div with a td, and the td is going to be coming out as a response for the fragment app. Every time the component expects only single element to come out as a return value. If you have td here, what do you think is going to be the response for this here? So tr can be filled with list of tds, right? So we can do two things here. We can just do either fragment. I think it's going to freak us out. So just do a fragment app and shut this up. So I can do this. I can just fill this thing up like this for every single thing, which is not going to make any sense. Or I can return multiple TDs from this while. So if I'm trying to do that, what happens is that I can try to return multiple values, but it's just throwing up an error saying that I cannot do more than one. So it says you cannot have more than one parent element, and JS expressions cannot have more than one parent element. So that is actually a problem for us. Now what we can do is, let's first fill this up with some data. Data 1, data 2, data 3, and data 4. Now we can do is that we just wrap this up using a div, and the div is going to be actually one single parent element, right? So we just do this, and it's quiet for now. So when you try to run this application, it's going to work as expected, right? It's going to show us some data, which is actually okay. And now if we go to console elements, we can just find that everything, instead of all these four coming under tr, it's being wrapped up inside a simple div. And I'm not very comfortable with having a div inside a tr. It doesn't make any sense. Even though it works fine, it doesn't make any sense. And it should not be like this also. So what I'm going to be using is the React.js fragments, wherein the fragments lets you group a list of children without even having to have an extra node to the DOM. That exactly means is that we don't have to have a div here, and we can just even do something like this: react dot fragment. That's it. Just put this also here, and we are done. Just run this thing up. It's running actually. As you can see, the div is actually removed, and all this td is coming under tr. So what exactly do fragments do? The fragments is nothing but a simple placeholders for you to return, and it lets the React know that there is something like a group of children that needs to be returned without having the need for adding another node to the DOM. We don't have to always add a lot of divs in order to return it back to the DOM. We can just do a simple fragment if there is going to be no use of a div there. If you have to have a div and it needs to have a style to that, you can use a div there. But when there is no use of having a div, do not use a div and directly go for fragments. There's also another shortcut for this now. You can just remove this, and this is enough. This is very much enough to let the React know that there is going to be a DOM. Okay, let's pass this up, and it's just working as expected because it's not going to do anything wrong. And it's just doing the same thing again, which is mean that this empty braces in empty brackets just means that the fragments are returned as part of a component, and do not actually try to wrap another node to the DOM. So that's the very simple example of having to use a simple fragment in React.js. We can even have keyed fragments, and a lot of the stuff is coming. So it's just simple from here on. Just have a key, and you can just pass any number of fragments you want to pass. And it's just a simple way to grow your application without having to have a lot of DOM elements keep on adding. And that's it for this video. Hope this video is informative and short as well. If you like this video, you know what, do smash that like button. Subscribe as well. Let me meet you in the next video with something useful. And until then, it's Bharat. Peace out. Have a super awesome day.